Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another amazing session from the World Parliament of Spirituality. I am Dr. Kavita, a neurofeedback trainer and a parenting coach, in conversation with the visionary, with Dr. Yugandhar sir, who has this unique vision of getting all the spiritual leaders across the world in unison under the banner of oneness. Welcome, Dr. Yugandhar sir, to the show. As it is coming to the today's concept of dealing about the early childhood education and the concept of family well-being in relation to spirituality. That is the topic that we are going to discuss today extensively. Okay, spirituality, as I see, is often a misunderstood term, especially when it comes to childhood care or when the parents are bringing up their child. Most of the parents come to me for how do we enhance the resiliency of the child, how do we enhance the emotional intelligence of the child, and so on and so forth. I always emphasize to the parents that along with all these things, along with autonomy, along with resiliency of the child, it is very important for us to also imbibe and instill the spirituality right from a young age. Okay, so it's so important for us to understand spirituality in the right way. Education is a term that is very broad based. Education is not confined to literacy. Education is more about how we are able to make the child self independent, how to make the child feel more confident, how to make the child live the life with happiness, increased happiness quotient, and also be of service to humanity. So as I was saying, spirituality and religiousness, these are two concepts that are often misunderstood by most of the parents. So I invite Dr. Yugandhar sir to throw a little light on these two concepts so that it would help us to help all the parents, all the viewers today to understand what is the essence of imbibing this seed of spirituality into the child. So please, your thoughts on this.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kavita. A man and a woman suddenly become mother and father with the entry of a child. And because it is a sudden affair, they don't know what is meant by parenting. They do not know how to foster a child.
True. I agree.
He always treats the child the way he was treated by his parents because of subconscious programming.
Right.
When the fact is, parenting is not about educating the child. Parenting is not about educating the child. In fact, it is traveling with the child.
Wow.
So many parents, in fact, most of the parents think, feel, and believe that parenting means fostering, nurturing, and educating the child. It is traveling with the child, and the child gives the indication to the parents how he has to be treated by them. Child's frequency is totally different from parental frequencies, because child is a fresh bundle of soul energy and physical body. He is fresh from higher realms. He is full of wisdom. He is full of knowledge. He is full of enthusiasm, full of curiosity and passion, which adult has lost. A lost childhood is called as adult. Adult is one who has lost his child inside. So a person who has lost his child inside, who has killed his child inside, how can he educate a child? Difficult. So child, to like, when we want to be very good in business, we have to spend time for business.
Right.
when we want to pick up a good practice, we have to spend time for that. Similarly, if we have to understand parenting, we have to spend time with the child, so that the child will educate us how he has to be treated, how he has to be fostered, how he has to be parented. And in this parenting, again, mothering is different from fathering.
So true, sir.
Father role is totally different. Mother role is
Yes,
totally different.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the first 7 years is totally under the care of mother, because the physical needs are more important. The psychological needs, the
Yes.
physical and emotional needs are nurtured by the mother. Once the child starts developing the main mind after 7, the fathering starts.
Right.
So, okay.
Yes, sir. I totally understand that, because being a mother, the way it is more about motherly protection, it is more about imbibing the child with values. That is how patriarchally, how we are conditioned. And the role of father is more about, about his and making the child understand the societal norms. I mean, these are two distinct patterns that I have seen. But at the same time, I would like to also emphasize, half the time the mother wants the child to be how she wants to think, and father wants the child to be how the father wants the child to be. It's like 50% of the mother, 50% of the father. But most of the parents, with my experience in this field in the last few years, I emphasize that most of the parents are somewhere really failing to really see the child as an individual, the child as, he himself has some personality. And as you rightly said, children ask what they want, children say it, we just need to be more observant. Okay, thank you so much for this wonderful definition. Adult is the lost childhood, is a person who has lost his childhood. It is really amazing. I'm going to really emphasize on this, because when as adults, when we start living back our childhood, life becomes even more happier and healthier. Coming to the next segment of our today's program is somewhere with the increasing like overprotection, overbearing of the parents. Somewhere the children are definitely losing their adversity quotient. They are not, because for any time the child is facing a problem, the parents are there to fix their problems, because of which the child is somewhere struggling. When he grows up, he always seeks that validation. He always wants somebody to help him. So this is something that is very pertinent in today's life. That's the reason I'm very with heavy heart. I want to really say here is the rate of suicides have increased among teenagers in today's date. If you look at the data, it is really, really so increased. So coming back to how this spirituality, making the child become more aware of himself, of his feelings, how would we increase this adversity quotient? How would we make the child even more stronger too? Because the external environment is not under our control. All that is under control is our own selves. So if my understanding of spirituality is knowing about our own self and merging with the I and the higher consciousness, is what spirituality teaches. So how can we I really want your view on how to integrate this spirituality at a very young age, so that such tragic incidents won't happen in the future, and how there would be happier and healthier families worldwide.
Okay. There are 3 stages of evolution when it comes to childhood, parenting, adulthood. First stage is the child stage. Child up to 7 years is totally different. As I told earlier, is a bundle of physical body and only feelings. No mind is there.
Yes.
When the mind doesn't exist, the learning capability is tremendously high.
Right.
Tremendously high. That is the reason why 95% of the lifetime's learning is made in the first 7 years of life. Remaining 93 years, if a person is supposed to live for 100 years, the whole rest of the life he will be learning only 7% or 5%. That means what happens? The learning capability of child is killed after 7 years.
Right.
After 7 years, the mind starts. 7 to 14, the mind develops in terms of logic, reason, all these thinking abilities to start. And please continue. I'll go back.
Yes. As sir was just saying, it's like the initial 7 to 8 years of age, the brain is much more like a sponge. Whatever you share, whatever you give to the child, that is how our adults, we as adults, whatever we are experiencing today comes all from the childhood conditioning that happens. So 0 to 7 years of age is the most important, wherein, it's your brain is just like a sponge. Anything you give good, it'll absorb the good. You give something, a limiting belief, that would how the child would absorb the limiting belief, right? So 0 to 7 years is an amazing time for us to really fine tune our kids, our younger kids, to face the life ahead. Yes, sir, please continue.
Yeah. So 7 to 14 is development of the mind, and 14 to 21 is the age when there's a conflict between the thoughts and feelings, the adolescent age.
True.
Because of this clash and conflict, the contradiction and controversy, as you told, the suicidal tendency and so many other types of psychological maladies can play a picture when the friction is more and more inside. Let us understand these two words, mother and father. Let us go etymologically. What is meant by mother?
Yes.
The word mother came from Latin. The word came in the Latin matter, M-A-T-E-R, matter.
Yes.
From the word matter came word mother. In Sanskrit also we call matru. So Latin and Sanskrit, they go together because Latin and Greek language, they emerged from Sanskrit.
Right.
So what is matru in Sanskrit is matter in Latin and mother in English.
Right.
So matter means mother. Mother is always protective. Like we call Mother Earth, we don't call Father Earth. In hospital, all the nursing class mainly female.
Yes.
Feminine consciousness is very important because that nurtures, takes care, compassionate. If all the nursing staff is male, patients will die. The masculine consciousness is not able to take care of. If the child is kept with father without any mother, no, the parenting will be very, very bad because the father, the masculine energy cannot handle him, especially for 7 years. Because he needs a lot of care, emotional, lot of yieldingness.
Yes.
The word father came from Sanskrit pitru and Latin pastor. The word father came from Latin pastor or Sanskrit pitru, which means one who resides. From the same word came the word pasture, church pasture, one who resides repeatedly. So the father's role is to keep on reminding the same thing again and again, so that he accumulates the mind. He develops a programming.
Right.
He gives a lot of care and everything.
Right.
So when in principle we are understanding the care, in principle we are understanding the mother role and father role. But what happens is when the care is more than what is needed, the natural inherent abilities, skills, and talents of the child will be diminished, reduced.
Right.
For example, if you take animal world hunting, if the leopard wants to teach his cub hunting skill, first he will injure the deer. He will not kill the deer. Injure, make it limp and lame, so that the cub will hunt on the lame deer. That's the training part. The father leopard trains the cub.
Right.
Similarly, the mother human being, as father human being, also need to treat the child so that he learns on his own.
Right.
If you keep on spoon feeding, if you keep on carrying the child with his little finger, the child will never develop.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah. So the child should be allowed to undergo types of challenges, hurdles, obstacles, insults, so that he will become what he ought to be. Yeah.
Yes, sir, definitely. That's what I was just saying is like the 0 to 7 years of the age is so important for the laying the foundation of life. So as Howard Gardner, one of the main child psychologists who has worked in the field of the intelligences of a person, he came up with 8 intelligences initially, but then now the spiritual intelligence is one quotient that is being added to all the intelligences. And like what Vivekananda did when he went to the parliament, that he took the Bhagavad Gita and placed it under all the religious books, which formed the basis, which represented that it formed the basis of all the other religions in the world. Similarly, spiritual intelligence somewhere in today's era is something that is most important for a child, for a parent to train the child in spiritual intelligence so that the child becomes more self-reliant. So I would want you to please give your opinion and your words on the how to imbibe the spiritual intelligence by the parents to the child. Being a parent as well, I really want to hear you, sir.
Okay, wonderful. So just like as we have understood the word parent is both mother and father, and mothering and fathering are different. Similarly, the child is a girl child and boy child is different.
Yes, absolutely.
It is a commonized word, child. So
Yes.
a child has got 2 types of energies inside. In fact, every adult person as well, the feminine energy and masculine energy.
Right.
The feminine energy, as we discuss, is the energy which takes care, compassionate, yielding, loving, caring. Masculine energy is dominating, leading, directing, forwarding, coming into action, all these type of masculine qualities. These 2 types of energy exist in every child and every adult as well. Spiritual quotient for me is the balance of these 2 energies, feminine and masculine energies, equally.
Right.
Balance of this yin and yang.
Yes.
Balance of this mutually contradicting force inside. This balance is very, very important. Even 1% deviation will not be a real balance.
True, sir.
Exact pointer, equal weight.
Yes.
Equal weight. So the balance happens at the meridian of one's consciousness. Centering of one's consciousness means merging of these masculine and feminine forces inside equally well. A man or male child must understand the emotional deficiency which he has from a female child or female partner. Female is more stronger emotionally.
True, sir.
Yeah. And every woman has to understand from man how much intellectually deficient she is. While emotional strength has to be learned for every man from a woman, the woman has to understand the intellectual deficiency she has. So intellect and emotional balance, they should go hand in hand, so that they become wholesome being. Be it a man or a woman, be it a girl or a boy, the balance of these 2 mutually contradicting forces that is happening inside need to be merged and balanced, need to be coalesced.
Right.
This is another form of explaining unity consciousness, which I have been discussing since many days.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I definitely, I definitely agree to your point. The Shiva and the Shakti, the consciousness and the inspiration and the driving force to that has to merge somewhere. Yeah. Otherwise, yes, as you said, that the females have to integrate the intellectual aspect of a man, or I would say more logical part of how a man thinks. It's so important because there are situations in today's world that women are working at various places. They are taking various positions, and they cannot be making the decisions based on emotions, right? At the same time, the man, sometimes he works more from the head. The masculine energies work more from the head and not from the heart, right? So somewhere, the women in their life somewhere feel restricted, they feel unloved. So this merger of the masculine and the feminine energy of the mind and the heart is so important, which again leads to the oneness that we are discussing, to live happier and healthier lives ahead. I mean, every relationship, it forms such a strong base for any relationship, any family to form. So thank you for this enlightenment, sir. One thing that is really bothering me, I'm getting back to the question that I had asked you. Many parents are confused between the aspect of spirituality and religiousness, because they have that point in mind that, you know, doing a puja, respecting elders and taking care of everyone outside the person is what spirituality is. But in reality, spirituality is something that is inside us. So I really want and I urge you to please share your strong words, so that being such a great visionary in this field of spirituality, so that the message gets across to the parents, the difference between spirituality and religiousness.
Okay. So, as we discussed just now, every parent treats the child the way he was treated by his parents. And suddenly, over a period of 25 to 30 years, when he becomes a grandparent, a grandmother or grandfather, then he will understand the mistakes he has done. It takes 20 years. And the affinity between the grandparent and the grandchild is because of this understanding. He learned by mistakes. He learned from his own erroneous zones.
Right.
From his own errors and mistakes, continuous trials and experiments, a parent became a grandparent by the time he has become old. And there is a reason why the affinity grows. So nurturing of the child should not be just be done by the biological parents. A child is the world's child, a global child.
Right.
He must be treated, fostered, nurtured, taken care of the entire society and community. That concept is gone, especially in the modern world. People, when living in tribes, the whole communities rear the entire children. All the grandparents used to teach these children to be fearless, to be adventurous, to be enthusiastic. This is real learning. It is not about alpha, beta. It is not about basic math. It is not about history of world, history of India. All this education which happens in school. Education is different from schooling.
True, sir.
We make it synonymous, but it's not.
It's not.
Education is totally different from schooling. Education is internalization of one's consciousness. Schooling is application of this internalized consciousness to something else outside.
Wow.
Schooling is different. Education is different. So the child has to be nurtured by the entire community as much as possible. Maybe a child has a biological couple of parents, but he must have many, many parents, because he will be nurtured by several adults. When several adults treat a child, he will know what is what and what is not what. And the parents must display a lot of honesty. Parents are not honest. They are highly self-deceptive.
I agree.
They think something, talk something else, believe something, express something else. So he makes the child live in a world of controversy. He makes the child live in a world of self-contradiction. He makes the child live in a world of self-unacceptability. So when one doesn't accept one's own self, conflict arises. That's what is happening.
Right.
Yeah. If you see any animal, they live in packs. We call the group of lion as pride, group of fish as stool. They live in communities. Right. So every child fish, every child cub of lion, every child leopard, every child fox, they learn from the community. We are living as community, but separated. A lot of social distancing is happening.
Yes. Social distancing is definitely important in this COVID times, but not otherwise. So to summarize what you're saying is, what our ancestors, what our Vedas said about Vasudeva Kutumbakam, it is not about only the family of or the generations of the family, it is the society as a whole. when they lead each and every child through, that is how the child will imbibe the various aspects of every person, or he or she would bloom into a beautiful flower, which would be helpful for the society further. Coming to the next segment, I see this cosmic vision of yours, sir, of oneness, raising the unity consciousness in the critical mass. So how do you envision about the introduction of cosmic education? So what are your views about it?
Okay. A child has to be nurtured in many forms of arts, many forms of sciences. A child who is truly academic in the form of sciences loses the feminine energy of an art.
Right.
While art reflects heart, the word art and heart lexicogrammatically sounds same.
Yes.
The knowledge and the head, the knowledge, the academic knowledge, totally different. Sciences are related to head, while arts are related to heart. Right. A child must be nurtured in the world of sciences and arts. An eagle has got wings and claws. Like sciences and arts, which is greater? Wings or claws? Both are required, right?
Both.
Yeah.
Both are needed.
Many people keep a competition or debate, science versus arts, sciences versus arts. It is not about sciences versus arts. It is science and arts.
Wow.
Similarly, wings and claws. Both are important. They need to be in coordination. The head has to be in coordination with the heart. That is very, very important. So the child must be totally nurtured in these areas of all arts and sciences. In ancient days, in the Vedic times, children were sent to gurukuls to learn all the arts. In India, Vedic times, 64 arts, 64 types of arts, and 64 types of sciences. All shastras, all kalas. Right. Kala means art, shastra means science. All kala and shastra need to be combined so that it becomes a holistic being. That is the real education. And from the dimension of centered consciousness, all these things will happen. The root knowledge, root education, the basic education, the primary, most fundamental education of any human being in terms of education is centering of one's consciousness, understanding the meaning of rooted consciousness, understanding the meaning of groundedness. All learning, all education revolves around this meridian of education, the merging of feminine and masculine energies. From this centered consciousness alone, the real education happens.
So very nicely you have, in simple words, we say in Hindi as sadgi. Okay, it's like, so it just flowed what you wanted to say about how the art and the science has to be. We both being doctors, we understand all the definitions of our subjects start with the word, the art and science. That's what we have learned in the medical and the dental schools. It's so, again, as Sir said, the art and science, again, it reflects the masculine and feminine energy. So basically, every aspect in this whole world is revolving around the Shiva and the Shakti. So it's very important as parents for us, if we have to train the child to do everything, the things outside the house and the things inside the house, whether it is a boy or whether it's a girl, we have to train them until, because the child is looking for answers. The child imbibes what is there in the external environment, especially in the first 7 years of age. It is just like that, whatever we give to the children, that is what they imbibe. As I said, brain is just like a sponge. The whole the conditioning that happens to every person is like in the first 7 years of age. So it's so important that we need not condition, we need to just nurture our kids in the realms of reality, of oneness, having spirituality as a base. So coming to the next segment, I would really wanted to share a few ways to all the audience who are watching us, who are going to view us. What would be the simple spiritual ways that the parents could follow and help the integration of the spiritual quotient in the child. Simple, like you said, they need to be grounded, right? So what could be the easiest way so that the parents can get few takeaways from our session, that how could they imbibe and integrate this spiritual quotient in the life of their children?
Yeah. For this, one of the great people, great thinkers, told child is the father of man.
Wow.
By William Wordsworth. Child is the father of man. So how is it possible? That is fact. Child is the real father of man. Because every father has to learn from the child. But what we are doing is we are training the child. Father or mother need to learn from the child. Child is born to teach the parents. We are thinking that we have to train the child, but reverse is true. Child exists in the world to make the father and mother revive what has been forgotten. They have forgotten their child. They killed their child inside. The child is born at the age of 20 or 21 or 30, 35 to remind them what is been lost.
Innocence.
Yeah, the beauty of consciousness, the beauty of child, all the qualities of a child, even breath of the child. You see the breath of the child, how the breath happens? It happens.
Effortless, belly breathing.
Abdomen.
Yes.
The yogic breathing. All animals and children breathe through abdomen. The hara breathing.
Right.
The consciousness breathing. Adults have forgotten even how to take breath. True. There is no consciousness. Everything has become mechanical. Everything has become robotic, reflexive, repetitive, recurrent. So everything is in a programmed way. Child is there to rejuvenate. The word rejuvenation, juvenile means child. Re means going back to become a child. Becoming a child again is called as rejuvenation. It is a type of baptization. So once the child is born, the father and mother should get baptized to become children again. That is the meaning of. Child is the father of man.
True.
We have to learn from the child about honesty. Child is a master and teacher of the parents, but yet they have one susceptibility, one vulnerability, that is imitation. The child thinks that he doesn't know, that is a problem with him. Because of lack of intellectual understanding. He follows the parents. He becomes a victim of their influences. The influence is very impactful. And he becomes adult, unfortunately. And adults suck him into his own world of safety and security. Programmed. The adult always in the world of programming so that he finds safety and security there. And loses the adventures, tendencies of the child. So my suggestion to all the parents, would-be parents, is be honest with the child. Learn from the child. Be a child again. He is giving an opportunity to become a child again. Be that. Don't disturb the child. Learn from them. Learn from them how to parent them.
This is totally a reverse engineering aspect. Yes. So amazing.
The child is always teaches. If you observe any dog, I don't know how many of you have dogs, listeners. Every dog has got uncanny ability to express himself. He knows how to express everything perfectly well without speaking in English, Spanish, or Portuguese. By his very expression, by his very bodily movement, bodily gestures, he expresses everything 100% clear. Spend with a pet, a dog, for 1 year. The dog will teach you.
Sir.
And all the trainings that we call trainings for children are meant the way we treat the dogs. From 6 months onward, dog is treated. The toilet habits, Tommy, get up, sleep, shoo, which it attacks. So the way we train the dog, we train the children. We don't know, we are unable to understand. The way we train our pet dog, with the same way we are training our children. Trainings are meant for pet animals. Domestication of animals, the way we domesticate the animal, we domesticate the children. Children should never be domesticated. They must be awakened, not trained. Awakening from a spiritual quotient, when you club child development, family well-being, and spirituality, my suggestion, my message to all listeners is shift the word training with awakening. Training is meant for domestication of dogs, not for human beings. Human beings need awakening, not training. Awaken. When you awaken, yes, it is like moving in jungles, not moving in a garden. Training means moving in a garden, everything is structured, organized. Moving in a jungle requires a lot of instincts, a lot of intuition, a lot of intelligence. Child needs that. Intuition, intelligence, instinct, adventure, thrill, guts, no fear. This is what child requires. Not moving in a structured, organized, planned garden where alleys are defined, arenas are defined.
Yes. Right.
Let him travel in the undefined jungles. Let him navigate through rough waters. Then he will become what he has to become.
Yes.
That is the real way the child has to be brought up.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And somewhere our education system, I might sound controversial, but today's education system is so structured that the child is not, I mean, the development, the true development of the child is not happening. Everything is structured. There is no scope for exploration that is happening in the current education system. So I'm definitely looking forward that the new education policy that has come, that has been proposed, which shows a lot of bright light, that it would work around the child-centric instead of being, student-centric, or instead of being a parent-centric or a society-centric, it would become more child-centric. So one important question that is really coming to my mind, you have been emphasizing on, like, the parents, I totally agree to it, and I'm a proponent of this theory. What you say, the parents treat their children the way they have been brought up. So to shift this paradigm of parenting, it is more essential for parents to become more conscious parents, to awaken themselves first, and then all the other things happen, like just like the flow of water. So what is that advice that you want to give for the parents to unlearn all that they have learned in their lifetimes and become more open, more working towards oneness? Because there's a lot of selfish characteristics in today's world. There is a lot of these negative aspects, negative traits that are present. So how to become a conscious parent is what I want to hear from you as the last segment of this conversation.
Okay. For me, a conscious parent is he who shifts his idea of being a teacher to the idea of being a learner.
Wow.
The parent is not teacher. The parent is a learner.
True.
He has to learn the art and science of parenting.
True.
Once the first child is born, how can he has knowledge of parenting? He doesn't have.
Yes.
He's doing all these things in a mechanical way, robotic way, structured and programmed way. No, that is not the way.
True, sir.
Every child,
Yes.
every parent must be a learner first.
Right.
Travel with the child, learn from child, guide the child, accept with full honesty what you are doing something as wrong. Don't try to be a role model in front of your child. Don't try to be a hero in front of child. All parents do this common mistake. They always want to be heroes in front of their children. Never be. You accept your vulnerabilities. You accept your limitations. You accept your deficiencies. You accept your lack. You accept your void. What you have, what you have not, what you are, what you are not. Accept it. Make it clear, transparent. Then the child picks up, yes, my father is a stupid in this area. I should not be stupid. If you want to make your child a master, allow your stupidities, accept your stupidities.
Yes. Yes.
How many parents we have seen who accept their stupidities in front of the children?
Very less.
Difficult, very difficult.
Very less. To be, I have to push them, you know, that is the exercise that I give to the parents. You go home and confess that you have done wrong. Do this one exercise and see the shift that happens in the bonding between you and your child. Yes, sir, please continue. Sorry to interrupt you.
So, and it is a family tree. The grandparent, parent, greater grandparent, the family tree, same type of programs, mental programs. The development of psyche, it runs through families. It is a group soul incarnation. The same family tree comes again and again. So if one child gets awakened, the entire family tree gets awakened. For me, the art and science of parenting is most important than what is called as spirituality. Because the adults will not be transformed into spiritual path. It is very difficult. Because they are already rigid, metallic in nature. They are not elastic. If you catch hold of the child, add the element of spiritual quotient to them, you will be very sure that in a generation time, the whole world will be a celestial abode. The whole world will be more pristine with spiritual knowledge, spiritual wisdom, if you catch hold of children. So for me, the art and science of parenting is most important than spirituality itself. That's the reason why the World Parliament on Spirituality coming up as 3rd edition from October to December. We have a theme called as Spirituality, Child Development or Family Being on day 1 of each continent. In each continent, around 10 experts are going to speak on this. Almost 60 experts are going to speak on the same subject from different dimensions. We are going to have panels on this. We are going to draw so much of message and wisdom from all these things. I'm giving to the world in a nutshell how everything has to be to make every child a global citizen, not an Indian or American or Bangladeshi, no, global citizen. Let the child belongs to the whole world. And how in a generation time we can make the global awakening more accentuated, more sustained by way of treating the child the way he has to be treated. All these things will be explored, expounded, promoted, promulgated in these 6 events of the World Parliament on Spirituality. We have got different types of experts. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with the basis of spirituality for childhood care and also family well-being. So, dear viewers, 6 continents, 7.5 billion population, thousands plus spiritual leaders, 200 nations is coming together on the 3rd World Parliament of Spirituality. Okay, so the parliament is divided into six sessions, conducting one session to be conducted in every continent. So as sir said, the first day starts with the childhood care and family well-being being the theme. I request all of y'all to register and to visit www.theworldunited.org and register as soon as possible to even gain more insight, to understand the various aspects of various spiritual leaders in every aspect of this World Parliament of Spirituality. Thank you, Dr. Yugandhar, sir, for giving us this time and sharing your amazing knowledge. And a true pranam to you, sir, for giving this opportunity and your time to be live on this show today. Thank you, everyone. So please do visit the website and also register for the Parliament as soon as possible. The details will be posted below in the comment section. Thank you so much.